I never thought I'd have to say this, but the HOA sent armed enforcers to raid my dad's farm over a shed they called a code violation. What didn't they know? My dad, Marcus, was a former Black Ops operative, and their little power trip was about to crash and burn. This is how it went down. It started at 6:03 a.m. The gate clicked open, soft, deliberate, like the land itself was holding its breath. I was in the kitchen, burning toast because I forgot the toaster's, inferno, setting. Dad was on the porch, coffee in hand, no shoes, just that look he gets when he senses trouble. Trouble doesn't knock, he always said. It sneaks. Mom, Clara, was stirring her tea like she was defusing a bomb. When I offered her toast, she shot me a glare that said I was late to the party and early for sarcasm. Then we heard it, the gate's metal scrape. Dad didn't flinch, just sipped his coffee and muttered, "They're early." "They?" I asked. He didn't answer. From the window, I saw two guys, built like ex-coaches who never quit bench pressing, striding up in black vests, clipboards in hand. "HOA compliance," the shorter one barked, flashing a badge that looked like it came with a cereal box. "Complaints about fencing, livestock, and a compost heap." He spat, "Compost heap," like it was a felony. Dad leaned against the railing, barefoot, calm, lethal. "Got a warrant, or just matching outfits?" The taller one didn't laugh. "HOA Charter Clause 12, you waived inspection rights by ignoring protocols." Dad sipped again. "That's a lot of words for we're nosy." I stepped outside, pretending to stretch, positioning myself between them and Mom. The short one pointed toward the barn. "Your livestock's untagged." Dad grinned. "That's Brutus, our emotional support goat. He's a screamer, but he's in therapy." The taller one eyed the shed and started walking toward it. Dad cut him off, still smiling. "That's not on the tour. Try the compost. Less hazardous." "I need to document the structure," the guy said, pulling out his phone. Dad's voice dropped, icy. "You don't want to do that." The guy hesitated, then stepped into a soft patch of dirt, sinking 4 inches. He yelped, stumbling back. Dad smirked. "Always test the ground before you charge in." "Rookie move." Flustered, the short one mumbled about obstruction. Dad held out a jar of pickled onions. "Good for digestion." "And karma." They didn't take it. They snapped a shaky photo of Brutus and bolted. Mom stormed out as the gate closed. "You lured them into a trap, Marcus." "Just a soft patch," he said. "You dug it." He shrugged. "Nature did. I just helped." She glared. "No more games. No more wars." Dad's grin faded. "I didn't fire a shot," he said softly. She walked away. I stayed back. "Why are they escalating?" I asked. He didn't answer, just said, "Got that tactical flashlight I gave you? Use it tonight. Don't trust the porch light." Then he headed to the shed, rusted, padlocked, but the lock was new, military grade. Later, I crept over. The handle was locked, but I heard a hum and smelled gun oil. In the dirt, fresh boot prints and a shard of black plastic, maybe a lens. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was scared, but because I realized Dad wasn't either. Then Mom's shout woke me. "Marcus, why's there a landmine in the chicken coop?" I bolted outside barefoot, the cold biting like a whip. Dad stood there in pajama pants, coffee mug in hand, like it was just another sunrise. Mom held a green, mud-caked object labeled "Front toward enemy." My stomach dropped. "I almost dug it up," she snapped. Dad squinted. "It's a training model. Inert." "Probably." "Probably?" She trembled. He sipped his coffee. "Statistically, it's safe unless you feed it after midnight." Brutus went quiet. I stepped forward. "Mom, set it down gently." She glared at me. "I thought it was a brick." Dad pointed to the label. "It says enemy, so you're safe." That didn't help. "This is your farm's security," she yelled. Fake mines like you're fighting raccoon insurgents? It Dieter's ground entry, he said. Of what? Taliban squirrels? Her voice broke. You said the war was over. He shifted. Someone's cutting our fence at night. They're testing us. She froze, then tossed the mine into the truck bed and stormed off. One more surprise, Marcus, and I'm gone. Dad watched her go. I muttered, Plan B? He sipped. Plan B was if it went off. We're fine. Our farmhand, Leo, stumbled out, shirtless, holding a banana. Did someone say landmine? Dad tossed him the keys. You're on night watch. Leo saluted with the banana. Inside the barn, Dad opened a locked cabinet, a flash drive, files, a sealed letter, and a red folder with a government stamp. A photo showed Linda, the HOA head, in uniform at Langley. She was PR for a military contractor, Dad said. Damage control, legal spin. Now she runs the HOA. Why not tell Mom? I asked. Because she'd already be gone. The next attack was a glossy cease and desist letter for code violations and perimeter destabilization. Mom found it, her voice ice cold. Marcus, they mean business. The letter listed Brutus as unregistered livestock. Dad grinned. Told you he'd make the watch list. It scheduled a property inspection with private contractors. Dad's face hardened. They're escalating. I added. Linda was here with a guy in tactical gear, scoping the property. Dad pulled out a scanner, detecting a surveillance device near the barn. They're after something they shouldn't know exists, he said. We found a buried PVC tube in the field, clean, with government markings. You put this here? I asked. He shook his head. We're being played. That night, I was on the barn roof, flashlight ready. A red light blinked near the fence. 2 figures moved, one toward the shed. I radioed Dad. North side. 2 incoming. Don't engage, he replied. Sensor lights blazed, exposing 2 men in dark gear. Dad stepped out barefoot. You've made a mistake, he said. You're on private land. One claimed HOA clearance. Dad moved fast, disarming the shed intruder with a pressure point. Leo burst out, wielding a rake. Leave before this gets weird. The men fled, one face planting in manure. Brutus screamed like it was a concert. Mom confronted Dad. You wanted to hurt them. He nodded once. I can't watch you become who you were, she said, voice breaking. I won't lose you twice. I walked the yard, hearing a ticking from the shed. Dad hadn't built this place for peace, he'd built it to hide something. The final raid came at dawn. 3 black trucks blocked the drive. Linda stepped out, megaphone in hand, with 4 armed men. This property is in violation. Stand down or be removed. Dad didn't budge. You forged that court order, he said. Linda crossed the gate, waving a document. I'll open that shed myself. Dad's posture shifted, like he'd spotted a predator. Sheriff's coming, he warned. She signaled her men. A drone lifted, and bolt cutters snapped the gate. Leo yelled. Want Brutus fired like a missile? Dad flipped a switch. Floodlights blinded, a robotic voice boomed. You are being recorded. Further action is hostile. The men froze. A sheriff's cruiser rolled up. The sheriff, a hulking cowboy, read Linda's document. This judge died 2 years ago. You're trespassing. Linda stammered. There's a military object in that shed, Dad said. Nothing that would harm civilians. The sheriff nodded. You're done, Linda. She glared at the shed. That file wasn't fake. Then she left. That night, Dad opened the shed. Inside, a crate held a red folder, a photo of him with Linda at a blast wall, and a device with a paused countdown, 3:17. Hollow Ness, Dad said. I didn't bury it. I was told I did. He pressed a key. The screen went black. He walked out, leaving the door open. At dawn, he packed his truck, leaving the deed and a note. This was about choice. Mom was already gone. I wasn't his son anymore. I was the next keeper. The farm's quiet now, but the shed's still there. If that timer starts again, it won't ask permission. It'll just wait for someone to answer. What do you think? Was Dad protecting us or chasing his past? Should I open the crate? Drop your thoughts below, let's debate. And hey, how far would you go to mess with someone like Linda in a feud? Share your stories. I'm reading every comment.